Okay, welcome back to another episode of Inboxing. Your host, Harold Berg. I'm a little out of breath, and for the first time ever, we're actually starting a little bit not on time. Excuse me. I'm really excited to be here. I had to move locations, so it's a little bit tricky. But yeah, we'll have a great time. Looking forward to recording a great episode today with Kelly Haggard. She'll be here in a minute because I just sent her the link. Just checking, but yeah, she should be here any minute. You know what? I'll email her the link also, just in case she didn't get it there. And just thank you everyone for joining me today. I want to actually just change my power setting. This is totally edit all this out because I want to be able to close my computer. That would be convenient. Okay, good. All right. Let's hope nothing broke. All right, yeah, we're set. Yeah. Okay, paste. And send that. And in other news, just want to add. Does anyone want to comment if you're actually with me at this moment? That would be great. And in just a minute, we'll have Kelly with us. And we'll start recording a great episode. Shouldn't have any internet issues this time around. We're actually on fiber, so it should be really strong. I have no experience. It's actually my first time ever recording with fiber. And but that should ensure that we have really strong internet and there's no issues. Unfortunately, we had issues in a previous episode, and I really don't. It was really unpleasant, terribly unpleasant. So I definitely don't ever want to do that again. It's interesting how I'm wearing a dark blue shirt, but it looks black on this background. But yeah, if anyone, Kelly, let me check my phone, see if she wrote me there. Oh boy. So Kelly just informed me that I guess we're having left and right technical difficulties, because she told me she lost internet and had to restart her computer. So it's so funny, all these different issues that are coming up. But it looks like she's almost ready to join the stream. I'm just looking. It looks like she doesn't yet have video. But let's see what happens. I'll try adding her, and we'll see if she can talk, and we can talk to her, and we'll see how that goes. Well, now it says remove, so that's weird. Yeah, I'll take her out then and wait for her to come in strong with strong internet. We don't want any crappy podcast episodes with bad internet. But I guarantee it'll be worth the wait. We're talking to the marketer of the year, email marketer of the year. I think it must have kept me going. We're going to get into the who's this? Who's the white tower people sitting around deciding on these things? I'm like, how exactly does that work? It's like the Oscars. She's won an Oscar of email marketing. So that is pretty amazing. Best actor. If we could compare it to anything, I think that would be the closest thing. But I'll try adding her to stream again, but I tell her maybe she should refresh if she's having problems and she can hear me. Well, I just hit that. Maybe I'll try a refresh. No. Yeah, so she's got issues. Yeah, they got to add their microphone and camera. So that didn't work. Should I refresh? Now I'm going to do a refresh and see if that helps her. Oh man, I don't have a keyboard. Back. All right, I'm back in the stream, and I'll try adding Kelly again, but it still shows she doesn't have video. Kelly, talk to me. What's going on? I thought California had internet. We'll be patient here, and just start when we can. Kelly. Well, what's going on, email marketing world? Yeah. See me. I'm live. Wait, I just saw a sign of life of Kelly. I see her microphone go on and off. I'm going to try adding her again. Add to stream. She's supposed to be in the stream, but I'm not seeing her. Kelly. Are you there, Kelly? Oh, no. It's so ironic, really, because I moved locations in order to make sure I had good internet, and my guest seems to be having internet issues. So not great. Yeah, I'll just try that. So Kelly left, but she's going to try to come back with her phone. And honestly, maybe that'll be better. Okay, that was a good noise. Heard the someone's in the waiting room noise. I still don't see Kelly in the little box that I have here. I just have a white box. I don't have a picture of Kelly. So let's try to add her to stream and see what happens. All right, Kelly, you're in the stream. Can you talk? Hello. Is anyone watching who could tell us, what they see? I'm pretty sure no one sees Kelly. Is that correct? It's not just me. Try with your phone. It's just annoying. I feel bad. Email marketing world, guys. Email marketers. There's a world of possibility out there. And we'll hear a little bit about it tonight if we ever can get Kelly on the call. Excuse me. That doesn't happen often. Kelly. We got some comments. Who's here? Says she's on. It's not giving presenters rights. All right. Maybe make sure. Okay, you disappeared. I think this will be so satisfying if we get this to work. It's crazy stuff. I guess I'll tell the story a little bit of background. What happened here is that we are 10 hours apart, which that in itself is just bonkers. If you think about it, more than a minute. Kelly's back. All right, we got this, guys. All right, the moment you've been waiting for, guy. Kelly Haggard is with me. All right, so let's pretend nothing happened and we're just starting from fresh, okay? Welcome to another episode of Inboxing. I'm really excited. We just launched the third season. Episode 1 came out on Monday, and episode 2 with John Walsh is coming out on Tuesday. And tonight we're recording episode 12. Hopefully there'll be 14 episodes when we're said and done. But today's guest is very exciting. She's like an Academy Award winner. She won. Oh, sorry. There we go. She won the award for Email Marketer of the Year. So we're going to get into that. Like, who are the people in this White Tower? Who is the Academy giving out Email Marketer Awards? I'd love to know. But there's no question she deserved it, and we want to hear all about exactly what she did to get, best actor in any film, this year in 2022. So it's not best actor, but it's the equivalent in the email marketing world. So let's give it up for Kelly Haggard.
Hey there, how are you doing?
All right, thank God we did it. If it wasn't funny, what is it? If it wasn't sad, it'd be funny. I think it's just funny at this point. But yeah, it was ridiculous. It's like, I was like running like a chicken without a head to get all my equipment to my in-laws' house, which thankfully lived about 5 minutes away from my house. Because my kids are all up and it's like, it's a zoo there. So I ran here like 8:04. I finally go live, and where's Kelly? And then, all these issues for 15 minutes. But thank God we're here. We made it. And welcome to Inboxing.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Glad we figured it out. what's life without some technical challenges? I think that is very apropos for an email marketer.
For sure, for sure. So yeah, let's just jump right in. I got my banner set up, and yeah, so just introduce yourself. You can tell everyone, your background, and you've had a long career in email marketing. How did that happen? And then, and yeah, how did all the way to the journey that took you to winning an actual award in email marketing?
Yeah, I got into email early where our first unsubscribes were handled manually, and I had a team of people that just replied to all the comments that would come in via email. I joke around that I've been in marketing long enough to have done a broadcast fax campaign also. So I think email's the natural evolution of a career nowadays. It goes into MarTech at some point in your career, and you really have to get more into the technology side. I've worked with a ton of platforms, a lot of different types of businesses. Email resonated with me because of just getting immediate feedback on your marketing. You send out a direct mail, or maybe you do a conference, and then you've got to wait for the survey results to come back in. Email is one of those things of they're getting it immediately, and they're telling you whether or not it resonates with them. And I love that about it. I think that there was always that. I joke around that there's that, if you've got that Nancy Drew side, that like you're very curious about what's going on and you know how to problem solve. Email's a great place to be because it really brings in all the different groups together. And you're kind of the flight coordinator in the middle as you think through being an email marketer, where you got to bring the data team together and IT, and then any other marketing teams, and get everyone to kind of orchestrate into this amazing thing where you hit a button and all of a sudden this marketing message goes out to millions of people potentially. So that's how I got into it. The award, how I got to the award side was, I've been going to that conference for years. It's definitely been on my radar as like from the email side. So I've watched all the award winners up there, and my own question was, how do they do it? What did they do? What did they do different? And how do I figure out how to get there? So this is like the culmination of almost 20 years in the email space to be able to say, hey, ANA, which was formerly this particular conference was previously owned by the DMA, the Direct Marketing Association, and so it's just been a crazy sprint over the finish line to then say, hey, I actually got this award. So it's been a very, very great journey. And email marketing definitely ends up becoming a part of who you are.
Yeah, for sure. It's so interesting. Like, all my guests, like we're all email marketers and working in email, and it's amazing. Like the community, and I loved how you described it as like being like the Nancy Drew, like figuring things out, the technical side of it and the creative side of it, and like marrying all that together. I think that we're like sort of like unicorns in this way. And I think that's why there's such a brotherhood of marketers, and like like the community. Everyone talks about how the community is amazing. It's like because we all kind of feel this way.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, with your incredibly 20 years in email, what are some of your proudest achievements?
Back in the day, I would say like there were some campaigns that I did. It wasn't my first email marketing job, but I would say one of the first. We got an award from Marketing Sherpa back in the day. So if you've been in the email space for a long time, Marketing Sherpa was one of the events that you wanted to go to where you could get certified in email marketing, where there was some training. And so I think, being able to listen to all those experts all those years and apply it and then win a Marketing Sherpa Award was a really big accomplishment. I think now I would say my biggest accomplishment is like I've helped build other email marketers. I've gotten people passionate about the space, and then I watch them and I watch their careers take off, and it's just so exciting to see, the fact that the stuff we're doing will continue to live on. We've all heard the email is dead. Like things for years and years in this space. So it's exciting to see that there's new blood and new people that are getting into this and figuring out how to do the best in their space. So that to me has been my proudest, is watching people that I've worked with kind of grow into their careers and exceed the stuff that I've even done. So I think that's the thing that makes me the happiest.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, it's reminds me of a passage from the Talmud. I don't normally do this kind of thing, but it goes like this: like tree, what can we bless you with? And then that your fruit should be good. No, and then they're like, oh, but your fruit are really good, and then in the end that you have great shade. Yeah, it's great shade. And then how's it going? Hiratzon, what is it? It's a song, so it's like thinking it in my head. It's that all your offspring should be like you. Like I think that's the end of it. Yeah, that all the seedlings. So hearing you talk about how people that you've groomed as as email marketers, moving up in this world, I was very reminiscent of that, and that's kind of cool. So yeah, just jumping into the next one, which is really big on my mind. So you won this award, the Stephen Pollard, Email Marketer of the Year award. So you tell us specifically, like, what was the campaign? Like, what did you do, and what was so successful about it that it really, won you an award?
Yeah, I it's a couple things. So the Stephen Pollard Award, the Stephen Pollard Award is based on a couple things. So one, it's based really on accomplishments and things that you've done that are campaign specific. The second part of it is like, what are you doing in the community to help either mentor or foster or educate around the email space? So it's a combination of the two. So that's what makes it extra exciting, is it's not just campaign based. It's also like, what are you doing within this space to continue to educate and move things forward? So I will tell you the campaign side of it. We've done a lot of work with personalization and adding more relevancy into our messages. And so it's a little bit of the tried and true, off the menu stuff that we've done, where we've brought in some capabilities from some of our vendors to really up our personalization game. And then the second part is some more custom things that we've done to tap into new data sources to really, really take that relevance to another level, to drive more of the behaviors we want to drive. So you think about, API integrations. So we have our own customer data, and then we're able to tap into other data sources to bring in additional content that doesn't live within our four walls. That's been a big part of it. And then things like live polling, which allows us to get additional first-party data from our cardholders, and then take that first-party data and use it to personalize their experience. So a lot of different pieces like that from a campaign side. From the other side, it's more of, we do internal EQBRs, we do consultative sessions, we do things to really help educate the marketers within our group. So we sit within a COE here, a Center of Excellence. So we're over.
Yeah, can you translate your initials? Because you have a QBR, I think.
Yeah, EQBR. So it's just an email quarterly business review. So with that, we bring in content. It could be content related to specific things with the vendors, or it could be more high level overarching content. So, when I think about overarching content, think about, email is used for email marketing, but email is also the key for a lot of other channels. So, bringing some thought leadership, speakers to the table to really educate the business on a different way to look at that. And then when I think about other things where it's, we've done consultative sessions and really help the marketers to look at what it is that they're doing and to take it to the next level. I don't want everybody to have to come to me or anyone else on my team when they want to do something. The goal is to really educate them for them to be able to take it to the next level themselves.
Oh, that's awesome. Could you spit? I mean, I understand this, maybe you can't tell me, but in terms of like amazing personalizations, like what, like what? Can we get more specific than that?
Yeah. Everything from, the simpler stuff, like we're able to tap into a weather API.
You just cut out a little bit.
I hope I'm still connected.
And I'm not sure if it's my
Okay.
internet or your internet or what's going on.
I don't know, but I think I'm fine now, right?
Is my internet good from your perspective? Because I feel like I'm jumping around the screen. Like,
it looks fine on my side. That just right then, both of the videos blanked out on me.
oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, it's weird because normally I'm on Wi-Fi and here I'm like on a wired fiber connection. So I would expect it to be like we're
Better?
sitting next to each other.
Right.
I would expect it to be like we're sitting next to each other. I've had conversations like that, even on Wi-Fi. And now
Right.
I'd expect it to be like, times 30.
Right.
So it's weird, like all this. Yeah, like right now as I talk, I'm not synced with my mouth, Like,
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah, but if you're saying I look fine, then that's good. But yeah, specifically, if you could tell me like what exactly we're talking about with the. You started to mention a weather app, and getting weather information in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So if I know that it's raining somewhere and sunny somewhere else, I can have the hero image and the copy be specific for your area. I can bring in with like an API, I can bring in. We're a credit card company, so I could bring in, let's say it's one of our partners, and we're able to bring in a product feed from their website, which again adds more relevance to our communications. The first party data is huge, so I can ask you a question, what's next for you? And then my follow-up communication can be messaging to you based off of what you told me what was next. So it's more than like a countdown timer or doing something cool with your name, which I have seen. It's more of really taking the relevant data and how it relates to us and our business, and then being able to send out not just email communications but other communications once we've captured this information from the email channel. So it's taking all the relevant data that we have, bringing it together, and having an elevated communication that takes all of those data points and creates one visual off of that.
Right. It sounds like synchrony.
It is. It's a synchrony of stuff coming together, definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, now we're gonna steer away from that a little bit, but just in general, like, what do you feel are like the key elements of a successful email marketing campaign?
I think key elements are, again, looking at those data signals and making sure that you have the right audience. So you could have, there's a lot of people sit in a lot of different places on the spectrum. You could have people that are opening your emails and never buy, people that are buying and never open your emails, people that are kind of somewhere in the middle, and you want to be able to message to them appropriately. Being best friends with your data team. It's all about the data. So you have some data that maybe isn't updated on a daily basis and you want to bring it into an automated daily campaign. You've got to work with the data team and say, hey, I need this data quicker. I need to be able to do this. Partnering with IT, partnering with, it's communication is just as important in email marketing as it is in any other type of business or field. It's about bringing everything together. You're sort of at the hub with email marketing between, the technical side and the marketing side. You're like that voice in that group in the middle that says, hey, this group wants to do this. How do we do this? IT team, how do we work together? Data team, how do we work together to get to this end result? And so I think that's where I see that's that spot that we live in, and really what's key to be able to build out a successful campaign. obviously you're going to tie into timeliness. Your messages around the holidays might be different than your message in the middle of the summer. And so taking all the relevant content around. So, maybe as we look at internally, you're bringing things together. You're also taking external data points too, to really, to bring it all together into being a successful campaign. And sometimes it's not successful, and being able to tell that right away and pivot. When COVID hit and they didn't want images of people, large groups together, touching each other, and things that they were basically telling us not to do, be able to pivot quickly and say, we're going to change our hero images. We're going to move to icons, or we're going to move to more solo shots within those campaigns. And if you weren't quick enough, social media heard about it. So you'd see on Twitter and all these other sources of like, oh my gosh, this brand is clueless. Like, I just got a communication and everyone is hugging, and or the message said, have you hugged a friend today, or something like that. And so you really have to be, you're at that center place. And if your marketing team isn't thinking about the email side of it and the MarTech side of it, you've got to be that voice that says, hey, we just, we're starting to see stuff on social about brands that are clueless and don't have that in mind. Like, let's get out there and do it. So you're still that central role that helps bring it all together.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. And like, it's sort of like, I love what you said about, communicating, and it was reminding me of a talk I heard at Litmus Live, where somebody talked about her experience becoming an email marketer at a newspaper. And, she had to bring everyone together, like, and she started doing emails, with interviews with the editorial people that write these articles. And they were shocked, but these emails, they loved them. But that's what it takes, and like that amount of communication and talking to people, and yeah, it's love it. Great stuff. All right. Yeah. So, what are some emerging trends in email marketing that you're sort of about?
I would say I'm super interested to see where we take Chat GPT, like everybody else, kind of watching. I don't want to be first with that, but I definitely want to watch and learn from what other brands are doing. I think, I went to a conference last year, and I see the trends moving more towards AI. And so taking the data and the behavior and understanding over time to get the right message to the right person with the right channel. I think AI is going to be a game changer for us in the email space. But again, it's one of those things where it's still new. I think people are still figuring things out. So I think you test into it cautiously and just keep an eye on it and see, how other brands are using it, where their wins are. It's one thing if it's like, well, I'm going to change this hero image out. So it's we're a bank, we have to be more thoughtful in our approach. But it's like, if I'm a retailer and I've got a chair, and maybe the chair performs better if it's a chair with a person versus just a chair in a room. And like, I think about AI being able to do stuff like that. We've done that back in the marketing Sherpa days. It was always like A/B test, like, what's your hypothesis? What's your theory? Is it a call to action button, and the button changes colors? And so we know that this button that's green with this message performs better than this button that's yellow with this message. And so AI, I think, takes that it just makes sure that we take those tests and continue to learn and iterate off of it, versus happening. And then, you're kind of like, okay, the next campaign, maybe you don't take that champion throughout the journey. So I think AI is probably the one that I'm most excited about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, this comes up every episode this season because I just released episode 1, and it was like the week after, I played with ChatGPT, and it's just like an incredible platform, and like where it's going is partly scary, partly amazing.
Yeah.
But like the kind of stuff you just talked about, like, yeah, like, will it put us out of business in a way? Like, where like, yeah, you don't need an email marketer with a good, head on their shoulders to say, oh, let's try like this, let's try like that. It's just like automated. Like, okay, here's 3 images we're going to try. and see what converts best, and
yeah,
it's
but I think you still do though, right? From a governance perspective, I think I don't think we're going to work ourselves out of jobs. And I know a lot of people are saying that, because I think there's going to be elements to it that you can't trust to AI. There's all of those movies and stuff where AI kind of gets his brain of its own and goes external to that. I mean, I think there's always going to be new regulations and new considerations and new things where you're always going to need that oversight of the AI, and you're going to need to know when to tell the AI to, like, not in this case. We don't need your
like down boy.
Yeah, even something like send optimization, if you think about it, if I've got send optimization and I know the ideal time to send to people over a 24-hour time period, but my offer is only 24 hours, there's still going to be times where you need to say, okay, I'm going to override send optimization and I need to get it out to everybody, because if they don't get it until the 23rd hour and it ends in 60 minutes, like that's not the right experience either. So I think there's going to be times where AI is kind of
all right. So we're moving back to personalization. And like a lot of what you did is all about personalization. We know personalization is king in email marketing. I've seen that with my campaigns, and the more you can personalize and make the journey one-to-one and talk to the person you're talking to, is great. So the big question is, like, why do we still get emails that just seem so not personalized, I guess, at this point?
I think people can be, our organization is great and very supportive of it. I think that there are organizations where they're afraid, whether it's either the data team is afraid or the marketers themselves are afraid around the implementation. As we think about moving to an agile word, an agile methodology, it's about failing fast. And so you've got to kind of be willing to test it out. I feel it's a little, it's all about the data too. So if you're in an organization and there's data cleaning that needs to happen, or spring cleaning overall with your list, you may not want to go into personalization yet, because it's going to, it's going to be a liability. I was at a company once where they were doing a version. It was like, specific clothing for men and women, and they filtered the list wrong. So, and they talked to the women in a very informal way, and it was like, "Hey, girl, check out the latest styles." And that message went to the what was identified as male part of the list versus the female. And the call center was like on all these calls of like, "Why are you thinking me?" With the underlying theme of "you don't know me." And I think that's where a lot of fear comes for the personalization data, is that they are afraid that they're going to get it wrong. And so I think it's all about, this is why I say you got to partner with your data team. You've also got to know where there's any landmines, if any. If you're at a company that is very loose with your data and you're trying to send out something as specific as that, and you get it wrong, there's a price to pay for that. So I would say you first want to make sure your data is clean, and then look at personalization, because that's the biggest thing. People are legitimately scared that it's going to cause more work. They've got to be extra careful, and they're afraid of breaking something. And so you've got to set up an environment where they feel confident, and that is a safe place in which to do that.
Yeah, it's a great point. And I noticed what you mentioned before, like some of the stuff you're doing at Synchrony was just tied to the weather, where like there's not so much of a landmine there. That's a little bit more like just being a good marketer.
Yeah.
And like no one minds, like, oh, you see a sun in the corner of your email because it's 8 a.m. or or if it's about send time, or what's going on, if it's pouring outside. Just being aware of it. Like the way I think about these kinds of things usually is like, oh, if it's freezing, let's send them like an email for winter gear, or
Yeah.
or something like that, right? Or it's sunny in Philadelphia today, so let's send them about outdoor furniture.
Yeah.
But yeah, but there is, like you just mentioned, like the minefield of it all, and also even just showing that you know too much about a person, where people get, like they're being spied on. It's
Yeah.
creepy to the point of creepiness. So I guess, yeah, what you're saying is it's a little bit of a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
you
confident.
gotta,
I'm confident for our stuff though. I think, it's exciting to see it. One of my favorite examples of personalization was from Starbucks, where they had the Starbucks cup and it had in like handwriting font your name on it. And I was like,
uh-huh.
what a cool idea. It's very simple, but something like that is also visually engaging. Like I see my name on a Starbucks cup in the email and the image, and I think, how did they do that? Right. I think like
Right.
I listen to like my mom and dad, and they're like, I got this crazy email and it's specific for me. And I'm like, no, they actually have tools that can do that today. So it's kind of, that stuff is just, it's interesting. It draws your eyes attention, and you're going to read at least part of the message and maybe you wouldn't have in the past.
For sure, and it drives emotion. That's it. You saw that coffee cup, like my name, like it looks like someone, hand drew it on the cup.
Yeah.
So it's got a definite, and I think we all love these emails where like it really draws you into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the joys of email marketers. So yeah, I hit it, but it's the next question. Yeah, so what are your favorite email strategies?
Oh, wow. I mean, automation, like we shouldn't be doing ad hoc communication. So everywhere we can automate, and thinking about different ways to automate. It's an older strategy, but I still think an important one for people to think about and drive home. I love the idea of a rewave. So, you've sent out a communication, and you don't want to really do, necessarily build a whole new email just to be a reminder. And so maybe you update the subject line and send it out again, or maybe you just say, in case you missed it. I think a rewave is one of those ones that I think is valuable, especially if it's a big offer or a big concept that you're trying to make sure everybody sees. And then I would say the third is like thinking through almost a publishing model. I worked at a newspaper a really long time ago, and it was like the idea of having some assets that are maybe not evergreen, but they can go across multiple channels. Just to be able to drive home that omni-channel message, I think is another good one. Where you can maybe have a banner that could fit into an email and also can, go onto a landing page, and maybe they use it for paid search. Be just and in that banner, the conversation switches a little bit based off of that channel. So like in email, it's a little more personal. In like paid search or something like that, maybe the language changes a little bit, but the art stays the same. So I think being able to personalize based on the channel is another great one.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's a lot of really great stuff. Um, yeah. So, um, what mistakes do you feel brands are making over and over, and it drives you crazy when you see it in your own inbox?
Okay, so I'm going to answer this in telling you one of my favorite campaigns ever. The idea of it is the year in review. That like, here's all the things that happened in our relationship over the last year. I am a fan of, like, this is one of my favorite sports teams, and they sent me, and I'm a season ticket holder, and they sent me an email, and it was like they were talking about year in review, and like, this is how many games you went to and what you spent, and everything else. And it was like, actually I went to more games than that. And so it was funny. It was like, it was one of those things we talked about, is like just making sure your data is clean, and testing it before it goes out. Like, because as a season ticket holder, like I feel very invested in this brand and very invested in the communications. And so when I saw that there was some discrepancies in what I knew, I've been to more games than that. And I wait, they're not counting this, and they're not. And so it was, I love the idea of it. but I was like, I think, a lot of brands don't take the time to double check their data before these campaigns go out. And so, and that to me was like, we've seen that, right? I also, a different sports team, I went there and they didn't have the promo that night. And then someone did some filtering of the list. And so when I finally got my promo in the mail, it was a different name, but it was my address. And so I was like, again, it's like the little data stuff that you really have to be detailed about to get right. It's the same thing that we talked about of people being scared of personalization. Like, I wanted to call both of these brands and be like, just QA, someone should QA this before it goes out. They should have a live, when you're using personalization, you should have a live view of it to make sure that all the data is coming through right, because you're going to get into something like that. So that's the one that always kills me. Or, the blank emails, dear insert name. That one is just like, that's crazy to me right now. I should, like, I know you have my name because you use it on other times, but now all of a sudden this email says dear insert name. It means that someone that was connecting the pipes didn't double check it. So.
Right. Nat, it's amazing to me. Like, I'm surprised also I haven't seen boards of stuff, because I've taken screenshots from the New York Times. I've taken screenshots from LinkedIn has sent me an email with my wrong name in it. And it just makes me think, like, how many people got this email? Like,
well, and
are
then,
they all saying the wrong name, or just, like, is it everyone seeing Kelly?
Yeah.
Or,
right.
Is everyone seeing a different variation, someone else's name? Yeah, but don't kill anyone for it. We're all human. And I've been guilty of that a few times myself. So so you just mentioned, a few memorable campaigns, sometimes not for the right reasons, but tell me more. What are some of your favorite campaigns, your own campaigns you've seen that you really love? Are you with me? Is anyone watching this and can comment? What's going on? We lost Kelly. All right, so guys have to come back. But while we're waiting for Kelly, I think I'll connect to the Wi-Fi, which is crazy because we shouldn't need that. I think she's back. Hello. All right, add the stream. Kelly, I'm trying to add you. Hang on a second. Why is this not working?
All right. So we just fixed this in post-production, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, post-production, all this crap gets cut out. All the cursing especially. So you're about to tell me about all your favorite and most memorable campaigns when you went blank.
Yeah, the first year in review campaign I got from an airline was very memorable for me. It was like, you've gone to this many places, you've traveled this many miles. I thought it was very interesting. That one will always stick with me. I think that, again, the Starbucks cup. So my use case of when I got it was a B2B use case. And so it was like, hey, would you like to grab a cup of coffee? And the way they personalized the image was like a person with a Starbucks cup that had my name on it. Now, I will tell you, that wasn't necessarily good, memorable. I was like, that's kind of creepy. I don't know that I like the salesperson with the Starbucks cup that has my name on it in an email. I will always remember that for that reason. But the positive one is the travel. I think the travel, which showing like you traveled to all these places, you did this many miles. That information was interesting to me.
Yeah, no, and it's impressive because it's a lot of legwork, and it's to make it all work.
Yeah.
Having to try to do something like this with one of the organizations I work with, it's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Like to compile all the data right and making sure that it's all right. Yeah, in terms of what you mentioned about the B2B service, I've met with them, the people that do this kind of stuff. And it's very effective, but it's also creepy.
Yeah.
So totally. All right. So you might have answered this already when we talked about your favorite strategies, but do you have any like top tips for pushing an email to the next level?
Don't be afraid. I think when everybody goes into email marketing, at some point you have to be the person that hits send. And there's a lot of anxiety, especially earlier in your career, to hit that send button. So when you think about doing the work to really elevate the campaign and that there's even more that goes into it, that anxiety to hit send is going to be even higher. So it's looking at the tools out there, understanding what fits within your company's budget, and capabilities, understanding your data. The more you understand the data, the better you're going to be able to take your campaign to the next level and look at behaviors and patterns and say, what inferences can I make from what I know? So I can say, maybe I'm a retailer and maybe I don't have SKU level data on what they bought, but I know they purchased at this price level. I know at that price level, it's mainly X product category. So if they bought X product category, what's their next likely step? Are they going to buy Y? Are they going to buy M? Are they going, kind of going into that? And so the more you can work with your data team, I should say your other best friend should be analytics. The more you can work with your data and analytics team, the more you can really elevate what you're doing across email, across your whole program, because they're going to have the keys of the information you need to figure out how to bring in more relevance and to drive the behavior you want to drive. So we know if they do these 10 things, they're going to have a higher lifetime value with us. How do we drive those 10 things? And that's data you would get by partnering closely with your analytics side.
Got it. Yeah, that's really great stuff. Yeah, love it. It's like Klaviyo says, we're not really an email company, we're a data company. And it's so true. Because if you don't have that big data layer, it's just no fun. You can't do much. All right. So what brands do you like seeing in your inbox? Like, who do you feel are creating like really great emails?
Yeah. So one of the brands I'm watching right now is Bath and Body Works. So they sell, different products.
Yes.
I'll tell you why, is they're doing some dynamic banners at the top based off of what they know about me. And so the banners that, like my banners are going to come and bring in my latest points because I've engaged recently. If I haven't engaged recently, I might see a different message. I just think it's interesting to watch and see as my behavior changes with the brands too. Sometimes some of the messages and content changes. I obviously watch all the brands that I engage with on a regular basis, and I watch all my sports teams because I commented about the data stuff. I think it's interesting. More of the professional sports teams here are looking to bring in personalization and to bring in relevant content. Spotify is, they know the sort of songs you like and can put out their recommended lists and stuff. So I think there's a lot of brands that are doing some really cool things. But the dynamic banners is one of those ones that just interests me as I can see the behavior. So I'm definitely keeping an eye as my behavior changes as I engage with the brand. Curious to see like when it's going to change to something else. So I think those things are fun. It's funny, instead of like the whole email, I usually like connect with a module and say, is this module something that I could bring in and that I can do here? And then I kind of like brainstorm what did it take to get to this, and what would it take for me to bring that into my organization and to get to that. So I look at all of that stuff like, what do I want to do?
Right. What tools, like, you know, obviously you work with a lot of tools to make, have these API calls and make all cool things happen. So you want to shout them out? Like, who are we talking about?
Well, I mean, I can tell you that they joke around. I'm president of the Movable Ink fan club here at Synchrony. We do a lot of work with Movable Ink. They've definitely opened up a lot of capabilities for us. We do an integration from Movable Ink to Dynamic Yield, which does our website personalization.
That's cool.
Some of it is like, it's just all about the data, though. I mean, honestly, because there's some low-level personalization you could do within any ESP today. Like, I can bring in and throw your name up at the top of an email today. Again, it's about keeping that data clean. So across any ESPs, and some of the ESPs out in the market today would have some of the personalization tools. I think when I look at something like a Movable Ink, we're able to take it to the next level. It opens up a lot more for us here than we're able to get a lot more sophisticated.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I had Dynamic Yield. They were on the podcast in season 2. Yeah,
you should bring Movable Ink on too.
Yeah, I'll reach out to them. Maybe they'd want to sponsor. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, speaking of, just before we go to the next question, yeah, that Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year, like, everyone loved it. It like kind of was, everyone was talking about it at the end of the year. It's really cool, and it just obviously reminds us email marketers of these year-end emails.
Yeah,
they totally ripped us off. All right, so if you had one piece of advice for somebody just starting in email marketing, what would it be?
Listen, I mean, I would say you've got podcasts like yours, you've got thought leaders that are out there speaking at these conferences. Listen, not everything's going to resonate and be applicable to you, but my goal is, I try to, if I go to a conference or I listen to content, if I go to a conference, I try to come home with at least 10 things that I can do. And I may not get to all 10 of those. I may only get to the top 4, but it's got to be worth my time for the investment that I made to go to the conference and listen. So there's so many experts in this space, and don't be afraid after you hear someone speak or to reach out and connect with them, because you never know what's going to come up in your own email program that you want to just have somebody to talk to about it and bounce an idea off the wall, or like, have you heard of this? Have you come across this before? Having you call them mentors or just a voice in your head that you can have a regular relationship and help you figure some of this stuff out, I think is super important. Most of this stuff, everyone wants to be first at something. Most of the stuff that you're going to do in your career as an email marketer, you may be first at your company to do it, but you're probably not the first person ever to do it. Unless you're a developer and you're hands-on building out net new things, you're not going to be first. And so the more you can tap into the experts and get some support in what you're thinking, or maybe a pivot in what you're thinking based off of the feedback you get, I think it's super important as you think about your career.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing I mentioned just is join the Slack channel. Email Geek Slack channel is fantastic.
Yes, and I'll also give a plug for Women in Email group on Facebook. Is another great one. There's a bunch of really good groups out there that again, you can bounce ideas off of or take a challenge to, and there's going to be opinions and ideas that you're going to get back. You always just take what resonates, take what fits within your specific organization and group.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, reminds me, I'm definitely going to post something tomorrow in the Slack channel. I just want to get ideas from other people with one of these clients. Cool. And then, what do we got? Oh, yeah. And then how do we help build a community of up and coming email marketers?
Again, I mean, I think it goes both ways, where you should have your network of people that you reach out to. you should also make yourself available for other people to reach out to you and have those conversations, because a lot of great ideas come out of those conversations. Spend time, explain your program to others. You've got new people coming into your organizations, and a lot of times you're gonna know those people that are really hungry to learn and that want to know and tap into the things that you've already done, so they can figure out how to go net new from there. Somebody told me my favorite quote ever, which was like, once the elevator gets you up to your floor, you always send it back down. So, thinking about like, how do you help and support that next group of email marketers? That's and it's not by age. It's at anybody at any age could say, I want to start getting into this field and learn more, and just be open to have those conversations as a mentor or a mentee.
All right. Thank you so much. We've reached the end of our podcast. And at this point, I ask you a final question, which is, do you have any final thoughts you want to share?
No, I appreciate you doing this, and again, getting some of those voices out there for other people to listen to. I should probably caveat that the AI opinions are mine and not necessarily my company's, because you're going to have your own opinion on things, and what it takes, and kind of the landmines that come with building out something like that. And so it's definitely an exciting field to be in, and there's going to be some big changes that come up, and I would say stay close, from both the legal and compliance side of any new rules and laws that get put out there, whether they're geographic specific or bigger, and then listen to the people that have already done it. You can learn some stuff, and it can make your process a little bit easier.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing. It's so interesting how all these whoops, I'm sorry, did I just kick you out?
Oh, yeah. You're fine.
I accidentally kicked you out. Yeah, we finished, but but I was talking. Yeah, I'll just say thank you so much for coming on. And it's so interesting to me how each guest, has different perspective, different things come out. And I just had a blast. So thank you so much for coming and sharing all your wisdom. And I'm going to let you go. But stick around for a second, and I'll be with you, and I'll just find us and watch with us. I don't know why I lost video, but thank you again, everyone who watched and enjoyed, and subscribe and rate on Apple and Spotify. See you next week, guys.